Dear students of 12th class, and today in botany we are going to take up the all important genetics and evolution. And firstly, we will try to understand the terminology, the various terms used in which are frequently used in when we are teaching or studying the genetics. And secondly, we will look at the different aspects or introduce ourselves to the genetics and the principles of inheritance and variation. And you must have heard about the terms like the heredity. It has been derived from the Greek term, Latin term rather, hereditas, that stands for heirship or inheritance. By heredity we mean the transmission of characters from parents to their offsprings. And that is why an elephant always gives birth to a baby elephant and not some other animal. Or when we sow a mango seed, we expect only a mango plant to come out of that seed, so on and so forth. And now, what is the inheritance? It is the process by which characters or traits pass from one generation to the next. Third one is the variation. The degree of difference in the progeny and between the progeny and the parents. That is what we mean by variations. Variation is also used for a single difference in a trait. That means a particular character may have two different traits, as we will study when we go ahead in this chapter. We will look for the characters of the pea plants, like the tallness and the dwarfness. The size of the plant is the character, tallness and dwarfness are the traits. Likewise, the various differences in traits are termed as variations. And the branch of biology that deals with the study of heredity and variations is known as genetics. It has been derived from the Greek term genesis, that means descent, and it was quoted by the scientist, namely Bateson, in 1906. And humans know from as early as 8,000, 10,000 BC that one of the causes of variations are hidden in the process of sexual reproduction. And they exploited the variations that were naturally present in the wild populations of plants and animals to selectively breed and select for organisms that possessed desirable characters. Once again, in ancient times, the people who lived then, they exploited the variations that were naturally present in the wild populations of plants and animals to selectively breed and select for organisms that possessed desirable characters, and they promoted the cultivation of those plants only which were more beneficent to those living in those days and possess the characteristics which were more desirable and that were acceptable to the then then practicing these farming and all those wild animals which they domesticated for their own benefits. And chicken is the domesticated form of wild fowl. Indian cow that is Sahiwal of Punjab, is domesticated form of an ancestral wild cow. However, our ancestors knew about the inheritance and variation of characters and recognized them. They had very little idea about the scientific basis of these phenomena. And this is a famous quote that like begets like. Is the phenomenon of heredity or the transmission of characters from parents to offsprings. Members of each species breed true to their type, and maize plants produce grains that grow to form maize plants, or cats are produced only by cats. That is, heredity occurs within the confines of the species. Interspecific hybrids are also there. These are which are found to be sterile, like mule and henny, etc., or do not occur in nature. This is also the case with plants. However, the interspecific plant hybrids can be propagated vegetatively, like banana can be propagated vegetatively, and so is the pineapple. Oh, thanks. We will move ahead, inshallah, with the various, firstly, the Mendelian principles of inheritance, inshallah, in the next class.